There's a strange thing that happens in life, isn't there? You walk through this world with kindness in your heart, sincerity in your intentions, and purity in your steps. And yet, there are those who find joy not in building, but in breaking. They don't marvel at the goodness in people. They look for cracks, for weaknesses, for gentle souls to bruise, and when they succeed in hurting you, they celebrate. Ah yes, they celebrated your hurt. They rejoiced in your downfall. Maybe they laughed when they saw your tears. Perhaps they whispered among themselves, proud of how they twisted the knife, how they wounded your spirit. And the world? It often stayed quiet. It watched, as if your suffering was entertainment and your pain just another story passing by. But hear me now. God saw it all. God saw the hidden rejoicing behind your sorrow. He saw their grins stretched wide when your voice cracked with pain. He saw how they found amusement in the chaos they caused in your life. And though their laughter echoed in secret rooms, though their victory seemed unchallenged, heaven was not silent. There's a dangerous illusion many fall for. The belief that what is done in secrecy, what is buried under pride, goes unnoticed by the Creator of the universe. They thought God would overlook their cruel celebrations, their disguised wickedness. They thought your hurt would simply dissolve into forgotten shadows. But my friend, the heavens keep records far beyond human understanding. Every tear you shed, every silent ache you carried, every unjust blow they delivered, God took note. And now, the same God who watched their prideful laughter is stirring the winds of justice. You see, there is a balance woven into the fabric of creation, a divine law that echoes through time. What they gave, they will receive. What they rejoiced in will become the reason for their silence. Their joy, built upon your hurt, will not echo forever. Karma, the unseen force aligned with divine order, is already moving. Isn't it remarkable how fragile false joy truly is? Their celebrations, born from harming an innocent soul like you, have an expiration date. God, in His infinite wisdom, allows time to reveal the truth. And while they gloat today, their future is being shaped by the consequences they never thought would arrive. Pause and reflect. How many times have you seen prideful people dance over the ruins they created, only to stumble into ruin themselves? How many have mocked others, only to become the subject of whispers later? The same stage where they celebrated your downfall will soon host their regret. The same lips that laughed at your suffering will tremble when the weight of their actions returns to them. Because justice, though it walks with patience, never forgets its destination. And when karma arrives, when God's quiet justice unfolds, it silences the proud, humbles the arrogant, and exalts those who were crushed beneath the weight of betrayal and pain. You may not see it yet. You may feel forgotten. But God has not overlooked the ones who delighted in your hurt. He is patient, but He is not blind. And soon, very soon, their laughter will falter, their pride will wither, and they will come face to face with the price of their cruelty. So do not lose heart. Your quiet endurance, your unwavering faith, your refusal to become like them, these are not wasted. Your pain is not lost. Your tears are not unnoticed. For God saw how they rejoiced over hurting you, and now karma is coming to silence their joy. God saw the secret celebrations they thought no one would notice. It's an unsettling feeling, isn't it? To walk through life with integrity, to offer your heart with sincerity, only to find that your hurt becomes entertainment for others. You know the look. They smiled when you fell. Their eyes lit up when life broke you, and they celebrated, not openly for the world to see, but in the quiet corners of their prideful hearts. It wasn't a grand public display, but it was there, in their whispers, in their smirks, in their private conversations mocking your struggle. And yet they convinced themselves that because the celebration was hidden, it was safe. Because their joy was veiled behind false concern, they believed no one could trace their cruelty. They thought they were clever. They believed God was distant, that heaven was too occupied to notice what took place in the shadows of human hearts. But the truth is far more terrifying for them than they realize. God saw it all. The Creator who designed every star, who fashioned every corner of this earth, whose eyes pierced deeper than the surface, was watching. And not in passing, not as a distant observer distracted by greater things, but with full intentional awareness. He saw their concealed joy when they hurt you. He saw how they took pride in your downfall. He heard the unspoken laughter that echoed in their souls when your strength collapsed under the weight of betrayal. Have you ever wondered how God, in His infinite wisdom, measures justice? It's not by the noise of the crowd, not by public confessions, but by the hidden state of the heart, the parts of us we think no one sees, the envy, the pride, the delight in another's misery. These are the areas God inspects with precision. And so, while they laughed quietly behind closed doors, God's gaze never wavered. Every smirk was seen, every cruel whisper registered in the courts of heaven. Every ounce of satisfaction they drew from your hurt was recorded. They thought their celebrations were hidden, but they forgot that nothing is hidden from the one who sees beyond walls, beyond words, beyond the masks people wear. God isn't confined by human blindness. His awareness penetrates the surface, stripping away the illusion of secrecy. And in that awareness, He saw you. He saw the pain etched into your spirit. He saw your confusion, your sorrow, your quiet questions. How could they smile while I'm breaking? How can someone rejoice over my hurt? And while they thought they triumphed unnoticed, God was silently gathering every detail, every moment, every hidden injustice. What they believed to be a secret victory was nothing more than fuel for the justice already being prepared. The joy they built on your pain has an expiration date. There's something intoxicating about false victory. For those who wounded you, the thrill of your downfall gave them a high. Your suffering became their proof of superiority. Your tears, your silence, your collapse. It all fed their fragile egos. In their minds, they won. They rose higher because you were pushed lower. They built their happiness on the fragile foundation of your hurt, and for a moment, it seemed to hold. But life, much like the God who governs it, has a remarkable way of revealing the temporary nature of false joy. Their celebrations felt eternal to them. Days turned to weeks, and they still smirked when your name was mentioned. Their arrogance grew as they believed you were defeated for good. But they've forgotten one crucial law of this universe. The joy built upon another's pain is never sustainable. It is borrowed, counterfeit, and doomed to decay. Think about it. Can a house stand when its foundation is cracked? Can peace thrive when it's constructed from cruelty? Can joy last when its roots are buried in betrayal? No, it cannot. And so while they gloat today, while they exchange secret congratulations for the wounds they inflicted, the clock is ticking. Their false joy has an expiration date written by the hand of God Himself. Because here's the truth. When you harm an innocent soul, when you destroy someone's peace and delight in their despair, you've already sown the seeds of your own collapse. They don't see it yet. Their pride shields them from recognizing the storm brewing on the horizon. They laugh, unaware that their joy is set to expire the moment justice arrives. And justice always arrives. It may walk slowly, dressed in patience, veiled by time, but it never forgets its destination. Their current celebration is nothing more than the prelude to their silence. Their laughter is temporary, their pride is fragile, their sense of victory is as fleeting as mist under the morning sun. For every ounce of happiness they drew from your pain, life is preparing a return, a balancing act that no one escapes. And the expiration date of their joy is much closer than they think. Divine justice moves slowly, but it never forgets. We live in a world obsessed with speed. People want quick victories, instant gratification, immediate rewards. And when injustice happens, when betrayal strikes, when cruelty triumphs, it's natural to look around and wonder, where is God? Where is justice? Why is this taking so long? You see them laughing, you see them walking proud, parading their victory, as if there will never be a day of reckoning, and your heart aches because justice feels late. But here's the uncomfortable truth many forget. Divine justice does not operate on human schedules. It moves slowly, deliberately, with a patience that terrifies those who understand its power. There's a reason God doesn't strike swiftly every time cruelty surfaces. You see, fast justice may satisfy the crowd, but slow justice pierces the heart. It exposes the depths of wrongdoing. It lets the proud dig their own grave, one careless action at a time. It gives space for their arrogance to mature into blindness, for their deceit to spiral out of control, for their pride to harden into stone, until they no longer recognize the trap they've laid for themselves. And when the moment arrives, when the silence breaks, when God moves, the fall is greater, the regret deeper, the consequences unavoidable. You might ask, why does God allow them to rejoice so long? Why doesn't He silence their cruelty the moment it happens? Because God sees the full picture, not the snapshot. His justice isn't driven by emotion, but by eternal wisdom. He lets the proud taste their false victory. He allows them to believe they've won, to celebrate your hurt, to mock your struggle, because their fall will be that much louder, their regret that much heavier. It is the slowness of justice that makes it unforgettable. They think they've escaped consequences because the sky hasn't cracked open in response to their cruelty. They confuse God's patience with His approval. But what they fail to grasp is that every second of silence is time borrowed, not time earned. The scriptures remind us, God is not mocked. Whatever a man sows, he shall reap. But the harvest doesn't sprout overnight. Seeds take time to grow, and the seeds they planted in your life, seeds of hurt, humiliation, betrayal, they're not forgotten. They are simply ripening for a day when justice will be undeniable. So do not mistake the slowness for absence. Justice walks slowly, but it never forgets its way home. It remembers every wound, every moment they rejoiced in your downfall, every ounce of cruelty they thought was hidden. And when justice arrives, no one outruns its reach. Their pride blinds them to the storm already forming. Pride is a peculiar thing. It whispers lies into the hearts of the arrogant. It convinces them they are untouchable, that their actions carry no consequences, that their joy built upon the ruins of another's peace will last forever. And those who hurt you, those who rejoiced in your suffering, are drunk on pride. They walk through life as though justice is a myth, as though karma is a bedtime story for the weak, as though God turns a blind eye to cruelty. Their pride is their shield, their arrogance their fortress. And while they laugh today, while they revel in your hurt, they are utterly blind to what's brewing behind the veil of time. Because storms don't always announce themselves with thunder. Sometimes they form in silence, gathering strength, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And the storm forming over their life, it's already here. The same pride that fuels their mockery blinds them to the cracks forming beneath their feet. They're so busy celebrating your downfall, they don't realize the foundation of their joy is crumbling. They laugh louder to cover the growing silence within. They walk taller to distract from the shaking ground below. But make no mistake, the storm is forming. It may not come with warning signs visible to all, but heaven sees it. The storm is justice clothed in patience. It's the consequences wrapped in divine timing. And their pride, their refusal to acknowledge wrongdoing, their gloating over your hurt, it blinds them completely to what's coming. Have you noticed how those who walk in arrogance often confuse temporary success with permanent security? They think their position, their reputation, their schemes are untouchable. But life has a way of humbling the proud, and when the storm breaks, it doesn't just touch the surface. It uproots everything built on falsehood, cruelty, and pride. Right now they may seem unstoppable, but beneath the surface cracks are spreading, the storm is circling. And while they cannot see it, while their pride convinces them the sky is clear, you can rest knowing God has already set the storm in motion. It's only a matter of time. What they gave will circle back to them, magnified. The world may seem vast, yet every action finds its way home. The universe has a language, a rhythm, a sacred law that cannot be outwitted. Those who wounded you, those who rejoiced in your pain, believed they could escape this law. They assumed they could sow betrayal, cruelty, humiliation, and somehow reap peace, security, and unshaken joy. But life does not operate in such contradictions. What they gave to you, the grief they planted, the storms they unleashed over your spirit, it all circles back, and it never returns empty-handed. It returns magnified, multiplied beyond their understanding. There's a reason ancient wisdom warns us. The measure you give is the measure you shall receive. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. In other words, they won't merely taste the bitterness they served you, they'll drown in it. Consider how seeds function. A single seed births not another seed, but a harvest. An entire field of fruit born from one small offering to the soil. It's the same with pain, with cruelty, with betrayal. They sowed suffering into your life, convinced it was insignificant, that their actions were isolated moments, floating away, forgotten by time and by God. But there was one commandment, and by faith He has given you the insights already to. But heaven keeps perfect records, and life, designed by the hands of justice, has already charted the return route of their deeds. Have you noticed how their pride blinds them to the gathering consequences? They stand over you, convinced they've won, laughing while you nurse wounds they inflicted, oblivious to the storm quietly swelling behind them. They never expect the echo of their actions to find them. They believe they've mastered deception. They think they're too far, too protected, too wise to ever face the mirror of their own choices. But the mirror always arrives. The pain they gave, the mocking, the joy they drew from your hurt, it's moving. Slowly, silently, circling back, carrying with it the weight of their intentions. magnified through the divine system of justice. It may not strike when they expect. It may creep in during their highest moment of pride, when they are most convinced of their untouchable status, and that is precisely when it hits hardest. What they gave to your life, God ensures they meet it again, dressed in multiplied form. They sowed hurt, they will harvest collapse. They sowed pride, they will harvest humiliation. They sow joy in another's suffering, they will harvest regret so loud it drowns their past laughter. It is not punishment born of vengeance, it is balance, written into the very heartbeat of the world. No one escapes it, no matter how high they climb or how hidden they believe they are. The pain they gave is on its way back, magnified, undeniable, inevitable. Your quiet suffering will be exchanged for undeniable restoration. There's a sacred weight in suffering that the world often overlooks. You carried your pain quietly. You walked through your storm without broadcasting your wounds. You endured the blows, the betrayal, the mocking joy of those who wanted to see you fall, all without losing your soul to bitterness. That silence, that quiet endurance, it was never weakness, it was preparation. Because what many forget is that God watches those who suffer in silence with special care. You see, when your suffering is loud, when you fight back with vengeance, when you respond to cruelty with more cruelty, you've traded your pain for momentary relief, but you've forfeited the restoration that only God can give. But when your suffering is quiet, when you endure with grace, when you hold your dignity, even as they rejoice over your hurt, something powerful begins to stir in the unseen realms. Heaven leans in, God takes note, and divine restoration begins weaving its way toward your life. Restoration is not merely returning to where you were before the pain, it's elevation beyond the level you fell from. It's not just healing, it's transformation. It's not simply justice, it's redemption so undeniable, so visible, that those who celebrated your suffering will stand silenced in awe of what God has done. Your quiet suffering, your refusal to let bitterness stain your heart, has built the foundation for that restoration. The world teaches that only the loud, the aggressive, the prideful rise. But the kingdom of God operates differently. It exalts the humble. It restores the broken. It lifts those who were crushed beneath the arrogance of others. And your time is coming. The restoration God is preparing for you isn't hidden. It isn't subtle. It's undeniable. It will silence the lies, the mocking, the false victories they paraded over your name. The same mouths that laughed at your downfall will have no words when they witness the beauty of your restoration. Your suffering was never overlooked, your tears never wasted, your endurance never forgotten. The day is approaching when God exchanges your quiet suffering for undeniable restoration. And nothing, not even their pride, can stop it. The same mouths that laughed at your pain will fall silent when karma speaks. There's a bitter sound in this world, the sound of people laughing at your pain. It's a sound that echoes long after the moment passes. It lingers, heavy, in your memory. You remember their expressions, their sneers, their whispered jokes when life knocked you down. You remember how they smiled while your spirit broke. Their laughter wasn't innocent amusement, it was laced with pride, mockery, and cruel satisfaction. They found entertainment in your suffering, believing your downfall confirmed their superiority. But here's what they forgot. The story wasn't finished. God was still writing, and what they mistook for your ending was merely a chapter of transformation. You see, they assumed their laughter was permanent. They believed your pain was final. They thought they had silenced your strength, destroyed your dignity, buried your future beneath the weight of humiliation. Their arrogance allowed them to gloat without fear, to mock without restraint, to rejoice without understanding that every word they spoke, every laugh they shared, was being heard by heaven. They never considered that karma, the unseen hand of divine order, was listening too. Karma moves differently than human pride expects. It doesn't argue. It doesn't confront with noise. It walks quietly, gathering momentum, waiting for the moment when justice and timing align. And when that moment comes, when karma speaks, it does so with undeniable authority. The same mouths that laughed at your tears will tremble. The same voices that mocked your struggle will fall silent. The same people who rejoiced in your downfall will stand in stunned disbelief when life turns, when justice unfolds, when the consequences they never imagined arrive at their doorstep. It's a strange irony, isn't it? The ones who used words as weapons, who filled the air with mockery, find themselves speechless when faced with the results of their cruelty. Because karma doesn't just silence pride, it humbles the heart, it exposes the hidden arrogance, it strips away false confidence like leaves blown from a tree in a storm. Their laughter, which once felt so loud, so victorious, so untouchable, will seem like a distant whisper when life repays them. And you, the one they laughed at, you will rise, not in bitterness, not in revenge, but in quiet strength. Your restoration will be so undeniable, so divinely orchestrated, that even those who hurt you will be unable to speak against it. Their pride will shrink beneath the weight of truth. Their arrogance will wither under the shadow of your resilience. It's not about revenge, it's about divine balance, about God's justice correcting what human pride distorted. The mouths that laughed at your pain will fall silent. Karma will speak, and when it does, its voice will drown out every whisper of mockery that ever pierced your heart. And so we arrive at this moment, not in defeat, not in despair, but in quiet certainty. You've walked through shadows others placed upon your path. You've carried burdens you never deserved. You've endured the sting of mockery, the ache of betrayal, the heaviness of rejection. You watched them laugh when you fell, smile when you cried, rejoice when your heart broke, but God watched too. And unlike them, his gaze was never shallow. He saw the hidden pain. He saw the quiet endurance. He heard the unspoken prayers, the silent questions, the trembling hope buried beneath your suffering. And now, justice is moving. Slowly, yes. Quietly at first, but undeniably, because God in his infinite wisdom never overlooks the suffering of the innocent. He never ignores the prideful laughter of the wicked. He never abandons those crushed beneath the weight of betrayal. Karma is circling. The consequences of their actions are forming like clouds before a storm. Their laughter is fading, their pride cracking, their false joy decaying beneath the unavoidable truth that justice cannot be outrun. You are not forgotten. Your pain is not wasted. Your endurance has not been in vain. There is a law written into creation, a divine order that no one escapes. What they gave, they will receive. The hurt they rejoiced over will return to them magnified. The suffering they laughed at will haunt them. The same mouths that ridiculed your struggle will fall silent when karma speaks. So lift your head, not with bitterness, but with peace. The God who saw how they rejoiced over hurting you is the same God preparing to silence their joy. And when that day arrives, the day their pride withers, their arrogance collapses, their laughter vanishes, you will know justice was never asleep. Heaven was never blind. God was working, always, in the quiet, patient, unstoppable unfolding of truth. Their joy was temporary, your restoration eternal.